Hi everyone, welcome. Today I'm going to discuss one of my favourite things, which is a torque roll. Torque rolls are very, very difficult, and they take a lot of time to practice. So don't get disheartened if you spend a few hours or a few goes on it and you can't do it. It is a very, very difficult manoeuvre, and it does take hours and hours and hours of practice. It's a very cool manoeuvre. For those of you who don't know what it looks like, let me just demonstrate it very quickly. So all it is, it's you're standing in a hover and you just roll the plane. So the plane's just standing there and just rolling, just like that. So that is just a torque roll. It's very cool. It looks great, and it is incredibly hard to do. So you need to be a fairly good pilot, or fairly confident pilot, to be able to do this sort of manoeuvre. So if you're watching this video, I take it you should really by now be able to prop hang or hover, both belly facing you and canopy facing you, because as you know, when the belly's facing you, the controls are changed. Your rudder and your elevator are the opposite way around if the canopy is facing you. So that's the first thing. You need to practice prop hanging and be confident both belly and canopy facing you. The second thing I want to discuss is just sort of the principle of it, really. So the idea is that you take the right aileron off and let the torque of the motor rotate the plane or roll the plane. But in this episode, I'm actually just going to show you how to do it sort of by using the left aileron to make it quicker, and it also makes it a lot easier. So when you put a left aileron on, it just speeds the torque roll and just makes the plane a little bit more stable and a little bit easier to handle. But it's exactly the same concept. You just got to get your throttle right. You got to balance your throttle, and you got to get your corrections right. And the trick is very, very small movements. If you start doing big movements, the plane is just going to go out of control. It'll be very hard to do a good torque roll, and you'll be chasing yourself the whole time. So again, let's just take off. So the basic thing is you need to start with the plane nice and level. Full left aileron and just let the plane roll, and then all you're doing is just very, very small corrections, constant small corrections, just so that the plane stays there. You're constantly sort of pumping the throttle to keep the plane there. You're always on your rudder, always on your elevator, just doing tiny little movements just to keep the plane standing where it is. You can make it sort of move, so you can make the plane come a little bit towards you like I'm doing now. But what you want to do is try and keep the plane or the nose at a 90-degree angle as much as you can. So that's all you're doing, just small movements just to correct it. I'm just bringing the plane around a little bit just so you can see. It's just very, very little movements just to keep the plane there and just keep that torque roll going. As you can see, I've just gained a bit of height, so I'm just going to cut back the throttle a little bit, bring it back down. And yes, just very, very small movements just to keep the plane going. Now, when you're doing this sort of manoeuvre, it takes a while to learn, and it is very hard because as the plane is rolling, it's running quite quick, and you have to almost make a split-second decision on which direction to hit the rudder, which direction to hit the aileron, and you've got to be pumping the throttle and getting all these three things right. So it's quite difficult to do. There's no substitution. You just have to practice again and again and again. But just start by prop hanging, both belly facing you and canopy facing you. Get these orientations stuck in your head. If you've got a simulator, practice slow, because if you crash, it doesn't matter. But if you haven't got a simulator, go a little bit higher if you're practicing with a real plane, because you don't want to crash your plane. So go a little bit higher and practice. It's just as difficult up there, but you're less likely to crash. So I'm going to show you one more time. So you just take off, get the plane as level as you can, 90 degrees, and just full left aileron, and then use your elevator and your rudder to just keep the plane there, just keep the plane nice and stable. As you can see from my stick movements, I'm just doing very, very small movements, just trying to keep the plane there. And the plane will generally move a little bit. It's very, very hard to keep it in exactly the same spot, but as long as you're sort of there or thereabouts, it looks nice, especially if you can do it this low. And it looks good, and it's quite hard to do, but keep practicing. And don't worry if you mess it up, and don't worry if you can't sort of get it straight away. It does take a lot of practice, and that is the main thing. Don't get disheartened if you spent a few hours on the simulator or a few flights trying to do it and you can't get the hang of it. It took me probably over 100 hours to learn to do this, and I'm still not getting it quite right. Okay, thank you for watching. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe, and leave me any comments. Thanks.